What's going on, guys? Logan JYA, orchestrator in the house, and today we've got the Orcust Sky Strikers. Are you all ready to strike the sky with me? Triple engage, triple harp horror, sounds like a hell of a good time. If you like what you see, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and comment down below what you want to see next. Stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to show you my preferred turn 1 play when opening up with harp horror and engage. Without further ado, let's do it. Alright, party people, as promised, and thank you so much for your patience, we are going to be covering Orcust Sky Striker post the new ban list, and not only did we get triple harp horror, we also got triple engage, 2 treats to play with in this build. Now stick around till the tail end. I'm going to show you one of my encouraged plays when it comes to playing with this deck in the new format, if you open one of our favorite 2-card combos. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, my friends, let's start things off the main deck. This guy needs no introduction. Triple Harp Horror. Toss format is back in full effect. They legalized Colossus because they're insane, but you know what they also did? They gave us back 2 more copies of Harp Horror. And you know who Colossus's worst enemy was back in the days of Toss? That'd be our boy Ding Girsu. So at least for our deck, we don't have to be too worried about that schmuck. We're going to be sending him to grave like it's our jobs. But the first step to doing that is playing Triple Harp Horror, baby. Love to see it. Let's move on now. Again, never coexisted at the same time. Triple Harp Horror and triple Mech Knight Girsu, okay? Now, when we go through this build, you're going to see we're playing a bit lighter package of starters compared to what we do with the Horus build. It's a completely different strategy, okay? So you got to hear me out as we go through all the choices. The deck is built in a very specific way. I got to give shout outs to my friends Brahim and Yokman for help putting me on to this way to play the deck. It does make it run really well. So, of course, though, triple Girsu, your 1-card starter when it comes to Orcust. Follow that up with 2 copies of the Symbol Skelly. I'm still choosing to play 2. You could cut this down to 1 if you prefer to play with a consolidated ratio, make a little bit more room for flex spots. There's one spot in mind that I can think of, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I still choose to play 2 Symbol. You want to catch your opponents off guard. It's also a potential normal summon. Moving on, we got 2 copies of the Orcust Nightmare. I don't think it's as important to play 3 of this now that we've got triple Harp Horror, especially considering we're not playing the Horus cards. Not as easy to get this card out of our hands as it is in the Horus builds. So I think we need not play any more than 2. And then finally got the World Wand, of course the big brick. We don't like this guy, but we need him to return our banished machines. That's it for that. Oh wait, I'm just kidding. We got one more monster being chilling to round us out. That is our friend Gizmek Orochi, still choosing to play this guy for all of our topologic Zoroboros needs. So that's everything for the main deck. No hand traps. We're gonna go straight into spells. We've got triple copies of Engage. Yo, get mad in the comments if you'd like to. I've got mix-mashed rarities and mix-mashed artworks. Moving on, we've got 1 copy of the Hornet Drones, 1 copy of the Dank Anchor, and 1 copy of the Shark Cannon. They all go alongside each copy of Engage. Originally I was playing 4, I was playing an Afterburners, and when I was thinking about if I was going to cut one of the Symbol Skeletons, that might be the first card that I choose to bring back in. I like having more targets for the Engage so you don't overdraw on the engine and then run out of targets really quickly, but you really are only going to be running through these cards once, twice max, so I think that consolidated package is also a pretty safe bet as well. So that's everything for your Striker package, okay? That's the second half of the deck. But what makes the Striker build of Orcust work? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that is playing a crap ton of spells. So we are starting things off with triple copies of Upstart. And this is something I could have done better with my original build. I think we've since corrected, especially with the extra Engage. Oh my god. So we've got triple Upstart, triple Allure of Darkness for more draw power. All of our Orcust boys are dark. I'm also playing triple copies of Super Polymerization as one of our main board breakers, okay? We're playing board breakers in this build when we have to go second. We're only playing 2 big ones in the main, the other one being our friend Forbidden Droplets, which you also have here. But this is another Brahim and Yokman suggestion here. The Super Polymerization will be very clutch at breaking fire boards, Yubel boards, X, Y, and Z, you name it, Super Poly is going to be good. Not only that, but it's a good card to draw into off of your engages. You got to be able to run through your deck pretty fast fast, and you want those draws, that extra advantage you're going to be getting, to do something. Super Polygon is an example of a card that does something going first and second. So I mentioned it earlier, playing triple copies of Droplets. This is our other main deck going second card, the big cheese when it comes to board breaking, and of course it complements our strikers so well because you can send those spells to grave and then resolve their bonus effects if you just filled up to the third. Moving on, we got 2 copies of the Talent in the main deck. Normally playing 3, had to cut it down to 2 here for space reasons, but of course it's still represented. And then our Orcust spells, we got 2 copies of the Orchestrated Return. I want to say that I was at a street fair in my local town, and there was a guy selling some random singles, one of them being one of these Orchestrated Returns, and I've only ever owned 1 copy, so I finally got to get the second one just in time for this profile for you all. So anyway, side tangent over, let's move on. We got 1 copy of the Orchestrated Babble, our field spell. You already know how we do, but this time around we're spicing it up. We're complementing it with 1 Terraforming to search it or the Chicken Game. Now these are more spell cards, of course, to complement the Striker engine. Another Brahim idea. I love this one. At first I hated it. I'm like, what the heck are we playing this card for? Well, guess what? It's so easy for us to set a Babble over it. We really don't have to worry about it staying on the field too long for the opponent to use. And again, it's another spell card, so I think it is pretty flippin' good. Now, finally, last 2 spells of the deck. It's probably the sackiest one-ofs in the strategy. We got the Foolish Burial on the right, and our Called by the Grave, the Sacked by the Grave on the left, all right? You just tell that shifter no, and you say yes to sending Harp Horror. Last card in the main deck is the 1 copy of Orchestrated Crescendo to set off Galatea. Alright, that was a lot for the main deck, but hopefully you got all that good information up in your noggins now. We're ready to rock and roll, move on to that extra deck. First and foremost, you're going to need to get yourself a Sky Striker token, go along with your Hornet Drones. That's a classic right there. We've got 2 copies of Galatea, the beauty when it comes to the Orcust, setting your Crescendo, your Babble, or your Return. Moving on, we got 1 copy of our boy Long Duck Dong Girsu. He'd be sending your opponent's monsters to the graveyard if they are linked, getting that job done real well. He's an important piece of removal, keep him in mind. Moving on from that, we got 2 copies of the Ding 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 Girsu, sending all those bad boys to the graveyard. Don't even gotta be worried about it. And then for our Striker package in the extra, it's just 1 Kagari and 1 Hayate. Originally, I had a completely different Striker package. It was 4 cards. I was playing Kaina Shizuku and Kagari. What's that last guy's name? The generic one. It's escaping me right now. But you don't need them. You really don't. You're only going to be resolving the Hornet Drones to summon a Striker monster from your extra deck 1 time max, on 1 turn, let's say. And you only need these guys to get the job done, okay? So you don't need to play more Kagaris, you don't need to play more Hayates, or any other Striker monsters. This will get the job done. And our extra deck is very tight, and you're going to see why as we keep moving on. We got 1 copy of the Link Spider because this is what we need to go along with our Girsu in order to make Galatea. You all already know tokens cannot be used as materials, and Anima don't get the job done because he cannot use tokens, or it has to be an effect monster, something like that. Moving on, we've got 1 copy of IP Masquerena. This card might get banned someday, honestly, because of the quick effect tag out. If they're going to continue going after end-board pieces, you know, just stay wary, my friends, because technically her expensive cousin is honestly a little bit more fair on her own. We got the SP Little Knight, of course. Orcust does this card better than any other deck, in my opinion. I'm a little biased, but you know how we do. And one of our standard end boards is either going to be IP Pass or Galatea with Crescendo set, you know? Like, that's what it comes down to. We got the 1 copy of the Barricade Board Blocker. You still are going to need to discard bricks from your hand, so of course we are playing with him. The 1 copy of the Dark for stealing those Dark monsters at the opponent's grave, and then 1 Zoroboros, mentioned him earlier, for the Gizmek Shenanigans. Now, the last 2 cards in the extra deck are the Super Poly targets. We've got Garura on the right, Mud Dragon on the left. We only got room for 2 of them. These are the most generic, so of course they're the ones that were slipping in here. Now, before I move on to the side deck, I just want to give 2 quick shout-outs to some friends of mine, Lewis and Kenny. Thank you for the dings. All right, let's rock on, close things out with the side deck. Now, your results will vary for your local environment. We say that every time to cover our butts, but this is my generic best guess for the new format. We got triple copies of Droll because there's still gonna be a lot of decks searching out there. Fire King gonna be a real thing, and of course, even though Colossus has been legalized to try and counteract some of the search strategies, a lot of times, more often times than not, it might just be better to have that Droll, okay? So we're going to side all 3 of them. Of course, stops things like Drytron, which you should be scared of. It's a pretty good deck. 2 copies of the DD Crow, that's right. Okay, so I'm choosing to side DD Crow. Again, this is a good choice for the fire matchups. There's a lot of other graveyard-reliant matchups. You might see Tyr make a resurgence in the near future, especially with the return of Colossus. This card's not terrible against branded either. Honestly, pretty strong choice, the DD Crow. And the added benefit, it's a dark monster, which means you can banish it for Allure of Darkness if we happen to see it in our hands. Moving on, we've got 2 copies of the Cosmic Cyclone for that Spell and Trap removal, that beautiful Spell and Trap removal. We don't want there to be too many spells and traps coming for our throats. Now we are playing a Thrust, a single copy of Thrust in the side, and a ton of one-ofs to go along with it, because, hey, it's just fun that way. We got 1 Dark Ruler No More, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, blow out those back rows, edge your opponent's girlfriend's backs, 1 Herald of the Abyss for sending those boss monsters, those no-good guys, the, what do you call it, the Pearlies, the, Adignisters, the other nastiness, get them out of here. And finally, the 1 copy of Afterburners that I couldn't fit in the main, we slid on into the side. Now, the last card, I love this card, okay? I want to make room for this one right here. Big Daddy Judgment, okay? You side this in when you're going first. It's pretty simple. Make your M boards a little bit safer, okay? Your opponent wants to hit you with a blowout card, you just say no. Solemn Judgment's a pretty good card, guys. Just bring it in when you're going first, okay? I don't think I need to say any more about that. I've already gone on long enough. I promise you guys, though, one more little extra piece of bonus content. I'm going to show you guys my preferred play when it comes to opening up with Harp Horror and our friend Engage. Let's do it real quick. All right, everybody, to close us out, I got a little bit of extra content for you. I'm going to show you what I choose to do when I open up Engage plus Harp Horror blind going first, all right? This is going to be my strategy, and I'm going to explain my rationale as we go through it. But the first thing you're going to do, of course, while your main monster zone is clear, you're going to go for that Engage, grab yourself the Hornet Drones, use that to summon out your Striker token. If you're lucky enough like me, you got an Ass token, a German Striker. We're going to link that join off, go for Kagari. Kagari effect is going to add back that Engage from the grave. Now we can go for Engage once more, and now this is where things will differ based on different schools of thought. I'm choosing to search the Dank Anchor. Other people may choose to search Shark Cannon. Either way is cool, but this is going to be where you search your first line of interruption that you're getting from your Striker package. Now we're going to normal summon out the Harp Horror like so. We're going to link 2 on up, going for the Mighty Galatea. Then we can use Harp Horror's effect in the graveyard, banish him, summon out Girsu. We use Girsu's effect, send out the Nightmare, like so. And now for those of you who are aware and or counting, the Girsu here is summon number 5. So we are officially in the Nibiru range, all right? I'm going to show you why you don't have to worry about that. We're going to go for the Nightmare here and now, and I'm going to send a copy of World Wand from deck to grave. Now, if we eat the Nib before we're able to go for the Galatea effect, it's no big deal. We still have the Wand locked and loaded in the graveyard. It's going to keep us nice and safe. But if we don't, we're going to go for the Galatea effect now. I'm going to return that Nightmare like so, and I'm actually going to use it to set Crescendo from deck. And we're going for Crescendo because this is the safer one to line up around the Nibiru. So we continue to stay safe. We're not going to use that Wand effect. We're actually just going to slap down the Dingirsu now, reattach that Harp Horror to our Galatea to give us that guaranteed follow-up, and then we're going to link our friends off into another copy of Galatea on the top like so. Now, before you pass turn to your opponent, you get to set your Widow Anchor. That locks and loads you. Now, if you wanted to go for return instead of Crescendo, of course, that gets you free draws and gives you a live negate and take with the Widow Anchor. But in this situation, we've guaranteed the monster effect negation and the negate and banish off of the Crescendo while playing safe around Nibiru and giving us super guaranteed follow-up in the form of Harp Horror and World Wand Engrave. And we still have 3 more cards in our hands. Everybody, Orcust Striker is back. Be sure to play it good, play it smart. It's more mid-range than the Horus build, so you definitely want to practice playing out the long game. But that's everything I've got for you guys today. Logan JYA signing off. Have a great day. And if you like this video, be sure to comment down below to let me know what you want to see next. And speaking of things you might want to see next, we've already got this guy on fleek from the comment section of the last video, and then I've got another guy in the hole that I promised you during my ban list prediction. Yep, we got a build figured out for him. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you soon.